Good morning, everybody. Every day. Welcome to the Going On Daily radio broadcast. I'm Sharon with my excellent co-host Chuck. How are you this morning, Chuck?
I'm excellent. That's a wonderful way to describe me this morning. Happy to be here.
What makes it excellent? What makes it a
Well,
great
you
day?
just said I was an excellent
Oh,
co-host, so I
yeah,
figured, well, yeah, I'll
absolutely.
just be excellent. We'll go with that. That could be our theme for this Monday morning, and I have a feeling we're going to live up to it and probably even exceed it.
Oh, surpass it. Holy smokes. Okay, well, you set the bar high, my friend. Let's see if we can achieve that.
We can. I'm sure of it.
Okay, so we are joined this morning. We have a special guest, a very special guest on from because it's Pet Week. It's Pet Week here on Going On Daily. And so we are doing a pet themed week. And we have a very special guest joining us today. And I just have to look to get the pronunciation of her name correct because I don't want to make a mistake here.
You want me to take a
Um,
stab? I've
yep,
been
yep,
practicing.
absolutely. You go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have a live guest on our show on Monday, which is a rarity. And we are very honored to welcome Siobhan McCann to the podcast.
Excellent. See, excellent job, Chuck. Go
Morning.
from Siobhan.
That was a great job. No, yeah, that is how you pronounce my name. It's
I was
Irish.
practicing.
It's Irish. The
Ooh, a good
B
Irish
and the
girl. Love it.
yeah, so the B and the H make the V sound, and it really hangs people up. So I'm very used to it being mispronounced. So I appreciate it when people want to attempt or don't want to sound offensive. I don't get offended. I understand. I've had it for 45 years now.
Well, I won't tell you how I know how to pronounce Siobhan, so we'll just leave it at that because that's a completely different story in
That's next
itself.
week.
But we got you.
All right.
I love it. Welcome to the show. How's
Thank you.
everything
I'm
going
happy
this
to be
morning for
here.
you?
Morning. Thank you. I'm very excited. I was excited to meet you all pre-show and kind of just chit chat and talk about dogs and cats today. I'm excited. I have a lot of stories, so feel free to ask a question, and I'm sure I'll just pull one from somewhere. My experiences. I was the shelter director at the Quincy Animal Shelter in Quincy, Massachusetts for a few years. And I was a volunteer, an adult volunteer in the medical and cat department for about 5 years prior to that. And working as a volunteer, I had a different experience than I did as their shelter director. And
Okay.
people would, the want is there. Let's say you're driving on a busy road and you just happen to see a dog walking with no owner. Maybe it has a collar or a leash, but the owner is, we're not sure. And a lot of people want to help and they want to do the right thing, but they also don't want to cause a car accident or they don't want to get themselves hurt. And for me, I joke with people that my mom gave birth to me and a litter of kittens at the same time because I've just always been around animals. So I can sense behavior. And when an animal is very, very scared, or they're just like, I'm just glad you're here. And I can give an example. I moved to Attleboro and had moved on to another position because my ex-husband was working in Rhode Island at the time. And we needed to just move to the area. So, but animals would still find me. And I had seen this beautiful, it was either a mastiff or a bulldog, probably 120 pound dog in the middle of the intersection, right going to 95, and just petrified. And people were driving around him. And when I opened up the car door, all he wanted to do was just jump into the car. Didn't know his name, didn't know anything about him, but I called him over and didn't cause an accident and didn't cause chaos, basically. It just seemed like he knew the door was open, popped right in, and I was able to kind of be in the breakdown lane to be away from everybody, to drop him off to the Attleboro shelter. Most dogs, they should be microchipped at this point. Microchips have been around, I think, easily 20 to 25 years now with the technology changing. Dogs at this point should be microchipped, at least in the Northeast. Down here, it's different. To where vet hospitals and animal shelters have universal microchip scanners to see where the dog lives. And that information should have your phone number and your address if it's registered. That way, the company or the vet hospital can contact. Now, me as a regular person who found this animal, I can't get that information. However, the veterinary office can. Then they can call the owner to make arrangements like, hey, we're going to keep this dog here until you can get here. He's going to be safe otherwise. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, that was really brave of you to, you can tell that you're an animal lover because a dog that size, most people would be afraid. I know I would be afraid
Absolutely. And he was
to
just a
let a
big
stray dog in my car.
marshmallow. He just licked
Aw.
me right in the face. He didn't know who I was, but he was just so happy to be helped. And honestly, if it was a Chihuahua, I'd probably be more terrified. But
That's the reality right there. I've only
Yeah.
been bit by 4 dogs in my life, and they were all little wiener dogs. So
Mhm.
I can
Wow.
appreciate that. I would
Yeah.
let the big dog in without any hesitation, but I would kind of, I'd have to double check with the small ones. They're feisty for sure.
I'd have gloves, like gauntlets for a Chihuahua for sure. A terrier, little silky, anything under 10 pounds, 100%.
Yeah. So 10 pounds is the limit.
Yes.
That's the line right there. Anything under 10 pounds, you got to keep one eye open and don't turn your back.
And then cats are a little trickier because a lot of people can be scared of cats, just like people can be scared of dogs. I just read cats' behavior. Not all cats like being picked up. However, cats do like being scratched. And what mom cats do is that they groom their kittens here. So when I meet a new to me cat, what I do is I put my little finger out, like I'll fold my index finger, let them scent mark me. And that's how we communicate, to see if it has a collar, any kind of identification. Because in Northeast, now when I say Northeast, I'm currently in Western North Carolina right now. Down here, there may not be microchipped. Animals roam here. They're allowed to roam. There's acreage. Like I'm staying with my mom currently. She's on 12 acres. So we've got 7 barn cats right now. They don't have collars.
No.
But in the Northeast, people who have indoor outdoor cats, like let's say in are you located in Rhode Island or are you in Massachusetts right now?
I'm in Texas.
Oh, you're in Texas. Never mind. So I'm just making the assumption. So I came down from Massachusetts. And so figure, depending on your region, you're going to have indoor outdoor cats that are comfortable with that. And you're going to have some city cats that are like, no, bring me back in. It's too cold. Some cats will have a collar and they should be microchipped as well if they're spayed and neutered, because typically they do that with the procedure. If they're adopted, they're likely microchipped, spayed, or neutered, and it's all done in one shebang. To then again with the universal scanner, a lot of, not so much animal control officers, but if there's like a friends of a shelter or like a nonprofit that helps the shelter in addition for like fundraising, medical expenses, the animal shelters themselves, whether they're municipal or nonprofit, they should have crates or dog traps or cat traps, the have-a-hearts, and they'll actually assist in setting them up. If you think that there's a cat that belongs somewhere and it needs help, most cats, for the most part, they're going to bite, they're going to scratch. All they want is just to be fed or back inside if they're typically an indoor cat. So they'll also provide the supplies that you may need to help rescue said animal. Cat,
So,
dog, if you think that it needs to be rescued.
have you ever had a rescue story that started out as absolute chaos and just horrifying and ended in pure magic? You know, the kind that just restores your faith in humanity.
Yeah.
You-
So coming from Massachusetts, animals are held for a certain amount of time, whether it be 7 days or 10 days. Dogs actually, if your dog's missing for a year, in most states, if it's been adopted out or if it's been missing, the original owners can say, hey, that's my dog. So we had Hurricane Helene down here.
Mhm.
And the part of North Carolina that we're in, we touch Eastern Tennessee. And the river that comes through here just took a lot out. And we're going on a year and a half. And a lot of pets went missing during that time. And the shelters have kind of been inundated since, just an overwhelming amount of animals who were displaced. And this couple in North Carolina were adamant about finding their dog. They looked in every single shelter in the Western North Carolina area. 220 miles away in Virginia, where they wouldn't have even thought to look. Apparently, it's like a Saint Bernard, Australian Collie type mix, like the big goofy,
So a large dog.
yeah, big dog
Yeah.
with like little brown eyebrows
Not
in a
something you'd easily
shelter.
lose or would get lost.
Yeah,
Kind of hard to miss.
somehow hitchhiked from Western North Carolina. People just kept finding this dog, picked it up, and it landed in Virginia, but it also didn't have a name or any history. So people in Western North Carolina looking for him couldn't connect in Virginia. And one day, I don't know if it was a friend of theirs, but someone made the connection, like, this might be your dog. And the couple's like, I don't know. That's almost 300 miles away. I don't see how he could get up that far. Sure enough. And there's a lot of dog rescues here that rescue dogs in shelters that still euthanize to bring them to different states where they can get adopted. And I believe one of these dog traveling groups had moved him to Virginia, and they've been reunited. And it was just such a great story.
That's beautiful.
If I can find it, I'll pull it up and send it to you, because it was big news down here. And they were when they reunited, when he's in the kennel, and they don't know this dog's name, and they just see the behavior when mom comes up, like, is this you? And it's just, yeah.
Aww.
I don't like crying while watching videos, but that's one of those. Yeah.
Very heartwarming. Very heartwarming. That's beautiful.
It was almost like a healing moment for us down here too, because of we didn't anticipate the mudslides and the trees and just the damage and destruction to have displaced animals as well. And that people are still looking. We haven't given up,
Good.
I like that. So I have a question for you, and this is maybe not as happy a question as the one that we just had, but I live in an area here in San Antonio, Texas, and we have a major overpopulation issue with dogs and cats. So much so that, I mean, there are, goodness, I don't even know how many thousands that are just out on the streets that you see all the time. And it's really disheartening. And you want to try to do as much as you can to help as many as you can. But obviously, when you've got a major catastrophe like that, there's not a whole lot that you can do. And a lot of the animals end up having problems. My question is this: if you were to find, a stray animal, like you said, maybe one that's got a collar on, looks well maintained, well taken care of, but doesn't have identification of any sort, what are some of the things that you would recommend doing to help this animal get relocated back to its family? And if you, this is the part that's kind of hard to ask, you find the family and then they say, well, we don't want that dog. We let her go. We dropped her off in the middle of a field and just took off in our car. What are some of the things that can be done, not just to the people, for doing that stuff, but to help the animals as well? If the shelters are overcrowded, are there any programs that you're aware of or can help us to kind of, push people in the direction of to help as many as we can? Because I know that if a dog or a cat goes into the Humane Society, that they've got a limited number of days, and then we all know what happens, and it's very sad. So what can we do to avoid those things from happening, or to do our best to minimize?
Sure. So I've lived in 2 other states previously to North Carolina, in California and Massachusetts. And the dog culture in North Carolina is more like what you're describing in Texas.
I used to live in Charlotte. I know.
It's shocking. And I find that in my experience, dogs are almost like children to some people. They are at the hip. They are in the car with them. They are in the bed with them. They are not separated. Whereas in these other states, it's almost like they are farm animals here. they're working animals here, they're property here. It's just a different lifestyle and a different culture. So I can make that mental picture because I've seen it, what you're describing. I feel like my hands are tied. In North Carolina specifically, it is illegal to steal somebody's dog. Now, coming down from a different state, I didn't realize that dogs just roamed here and then they go back home. They live on 10 acres, so that's what they're used to. So me picking up said dog is illegal. But I also didn't want the dog in the road, and I've learned that over time. So there are organizations who pull dogs out of these shelters. When you hear no kill shelter, for the most part, 90% of the time, they are a no kill shelter. Now that, if it's a medical issue, if it's a behavioral issue, that's when there's a committee that steps in and evaluates that. Down here, they're 4 or 5 days in the shelter, and then that's it. They have an actual end date. They put timers on them. So there's multiple groups and individuals who put their own money to get these dogs out. What I'd love to do here is kind of be a base for these dogs to be able to go out of state to then get adopted. Now, designer dogs are still a thing down here where people will pay $4,000 for a mini dog, for example. Meanwhile, I've yet, like, I can't fathom seeing the designer dogs in the shelters already. I mean, there's Great Pyrenees, there's Dachshunds, there's Malinois, I would love to be able to get these breeds out to homes that would love to have them. They're really, I've never seen Malinois in person, let alone seeing them in kennels down here.
What's a Malinois?
A Malinois is what they're great for. They need to constantly work. They almost look like a German Shepherd, but they're used in sniffing drugs. They're used in military programs for either sniffing, let's say bombs, for example, missing people. They can do that too. There's just, with a Malinois, it's almost in their DNA to work, and be this companion to people. They need to get constant stimulation and training. And to see puppies, especially, puppies shouldn't be growing up in shelters and kennels in these environments because they go stir crazy. They need that training. They need that energy out. So there are groups. It's just the funds are depleted to really put that into play. I have the knowledge. I have the land. I don't have $100,000 to get that going. So I would love to be able to do that myself and get these animals out. I'm sure there are other people doing that right now. But again, funds, it gets expensive when you're trying to transport these animals. If you want to spay and neuter them yourselves, if they are from hoarding cases, I'm in a lot of rescue and Facebook groups here to see where people can kind of connect and see where they can go. And some of the stories that are out there, I couldn't believe how many puppies there were during the winter months. I'm scared for spring and summer. So I'm hoping I can get into a position to, it feels like my hands are tied, and I'm hoping to be able to connect with more people who are in the field to kind of, the momentum, the want is there. It's just, it's very expensive.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think donations would help. I think if people even just send $5 to their local shelter, nonprofit who works with these animals to help minimize the shelter space. There are a lot of, I wouldn't go with like the bigger names, but the individual shelters themselves, I'm sure, especially if they foster within their own homes. There's a lot of groups down here that take in babies without mothers. Let's say the mother unfortunately passed away and now they have these 2-day-old pups who need to be bottle fed. They'll keep them in their homes and then they take donations for formulas and pee pads, and they'll usually have wish lists as well, especially around the holidays. A lot of people don't consider the rescues at animal shelters. It's just kind of like back burner, but they really appreciate donations.
How do you prevent compassion fatigue when you're dealing with neglect, abandonment, and these poor animals that are helpless and defenseless? And some of, as we know, some of them have a a time limit on their life expectancy when they're in certain shelters. How do you prevent compassion fatigue in those certain
I
circumstances?
I think Gen Z calls it doom scrolling. That doesn't help. Because you want to help, you want to be involved, and you're seeing these posts, but then you're doing it from your home. You're not actually in the field. And a lot of people are like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So there's good and bad in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was working in the shelter field, I was 15 years younger, and I was thinking that was going to be there was a lot of fatigue and a lot of burnout and a lot of sad stories that hit me back to back to back. And I think that prepared me for here.
Okay.
I would love a basket of puppies land on my porch right now. And that makes me believe that I still have that care, that the stories that I experienced then, that was then. And I'm prepared for any fatigue. I'm prepared for heartache again. But if you understand that that's part of it, there's a lot of good too. Especially knowing that they're going to get new homes. Everywhere you go, I'd seen a lot of kittens, but seeing the puppies, that's a new one for me.
Okay.
Man, that's awesome. I have a question about, you said something just a couple minutes ago that kind of triggered a thought in my mind, and I want to get a little bit of if we could expand on that.
Sure.
You were talking about, the best thing that we can do to help is to send donations individually to, in individual places that can help with these things. And when you said that, you said maybe not to some of the bigger names. And this kind of triggered something in my mind, because I tell people this with my line of work. I tell people, if such and such is a carrier that you see on TV, they probably got too much money. Do you think that the larger name organizations that people would originally think of possibly are not utilizing those funds as wisely as some of the locals may, or potentially, using it for things that are not 100% what they should be being used for, if that makes sense?
Yes.
That's perfect answer right there. There we go. That was exactly what I was trying to get to. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I think it's very important that we make sure that the stuff that we want to do does get to the right places, so that the benefits can be, utilized to the fullest. So thank you for that.
If you're a numbers person, for 1 year, we needed to fundraise, what was it? $500,000. And that was our budget for the year, for about 300 animals. And that year we took in about 500. So you're only allotted about $200, if that's probably even too much per animal.
Wow.
And that's any medical, that's any, let's say, one of my cats, she's a rescue. And how I acquired her was that she'd come in a box with about 10 other cats that were all about the same size, same look, with horrific upper respiratory problems. So I'd taken them in. So that alone would exceed the $200 if they need antibiotics, if they need x-rays, if they need just to see how bad their lungs are, if they need nebulization, any oxygen treatments. So that 200 gets spread very thin. If they need wet food, if they need kitten food, if they need formula, if they need dry food. What a lot of people do too is, like, let's say their animal needs to switch food because they have allergies, or because they get a medical condition, and then whatever empty food or open bags of food they had previously, because they're switching over, the shelters will take that, especially if they have feral cat colonies, because feral cats don't care. They just want to eat. So if you have open bags of cat food, those shelters will take them, as long as it's not moldy. They'll take donations of wet food. It's just, I think if people visited their shelters more, or understand the intake and outtake process of how one kitten will come in to then get seen by a veterinarian to see if it's owned by anybody, to then go through the spay and neutering process, to then go through the adoption process, to then have this amazing family to live with. That could easily be $1,000, especially if people expect these perfect pets where technically anything can happen. And I remember a cat specifically that had an eye issue that we weren't aware of until after adoption. So it's one of those things, do we cover that? And that could potentially be a $5,000 eye removal, or do we help the owner with, so it's just, I don't think people understand the magnitude and the funds and the resources it can take. Also, blankets, newspapers, just things that people don't think about.
Exactly. Kitty litter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A whole host of things that are required that, like you say, most people don't think about.
Mm-hmm.
So what trauma patterns do you see in animals, and how does that mirror human trauma?
I've worked with a variety of animals. I've seen birds that have plucked their feathers. So parrots, for example, they're social species. They need to be in groups of at least 5 other individuals. If you have a parrot that's solitary, what they'll do is they'll just start. It's almost like when a human, I forget the name of it, but when people will pull each individual hair out, it's similar to that, but in parrot behavior, where they're just not getting any stimulation. Maybe they're in a cage all day. Maybe they don't have a person that they're bonded with yet. So that's a stereotypical behavior. If an animal is biting right off the bat, like if you go to somebody's house and they're like, my animal bites, don't even like look at it, I would wonder why that animal bites, because typically it's either scared or uncomfortable. It may be in some sort of pain or discomfort, and that's just how it's projecting, especially with cats. Cats won't tell you until the very last second that something's wrong. For example, my 16-year-old cat, she had a mass, and it was probably the size of a grapefruit. I've worked animals my whole life. I had no idea. And she didn't show any signs until the day before. And the veterinarian's like, she's been hiding this for at least 6 months. So it's just picking up cues like that as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any more questions, Chuck?
I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be here with us. I really love animals. I'm a huge pet guy. And when I heard that we were going to have a pet expert on our show today, I was very excited. And you have exceeded my expectations 100%,
Oh, good.
Siobhan. I appreciate
I have
it.
stories for days, so I just wasn't sure which way we were going to go. So,
well, yeah, exactly. And that's how this always works out. It's like, well, we probably were planning on going a different direction, but we find something that works. And, like they say, just go with it.
And then if there's any links or resources or like an
Well,
example of a wish list or something like that, to give examples, I'm happy to send that over as well.
Awesome. And where can people find you? Where can people get involved?
I think Facebook groups, especially for their neighborhoods and for their town, and just look up animal rescue, dog shelter, cat shelter, cat. A lot of people, or shelters themselves either have their business pages or like a Facebook business page or a Facebook group where they have their communities too. So what I would do is just pull in the search bar for your town or for your county, and see what is out there.
So Facebook is a great resource for those of our listeners and places, people who want to reach out and offer some assistance to these animals. Excellent.
Yes, I feel like Facebook is now the modern Craigslist. Craigslist used to be the platform for that. And it just seems that as Facebook is evolving, that's my go-to to see if there's a dog that's seen within, the nearest town. So to give you an idea, like the nearest Walmart, for example, is 40 minutes away. Okay. So if I hear or see that there's a hurt or lost animal within that 40-minute range, that's my comfort zone, because you can end up in Tennessee or Kentucky or Virginia just making a right turn down here. So I'll go out and then see what needs to be done within that radius and help that way. And I'll comment, I'll say, hey, I'm on my way. I work part-time down here. I like to keep this is my hobby down here, basically. A couple days a week is what I actively look for animals that may need assistance.
Wow. That is so amazing. You're such a wonderful person, Siobhan. Thank you
you.
so much for coming on and joining us today and for sharing your wisdom and your light. Like, I just love your energy. You have amazing
Thank
energy.
you. Thank you
Mhm.
very much. Well, I
Being
hope you
around all
enjoy the
those
rest of
beautiful
your day. It
animals.
was so nice meeting you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
That was amazing. She's
Heck
really
yeah. I
good.
love having guests. Those are always fun.
I'm disappointed that we couldn't just do an hour with her, because she could have, there's so many stories there.
Absolutely. And we
Yeah.
just scratched the surface for sure.
Yep. It's
I
only
like it.
9:30. Yeah, she's wonderful and just such a bright light and has done so much good for animals in everywhere she's been. So what a wonderful human being. Okay, so I guess we got to get down to business now, hey?
Let's get down to business. That was
Where
fun.
can
Now it's
people
time to
find
pay the
us?
bills, right?
Absolutely. Time to pay the bills. Where can people find us? You can watch us on Kick, YouTube, and Rumble at Rhode Island Broadcasting. You can watch us on Twitch at RI_broadcasting or on X at broadcasting RI. You can also listen to us live on Spotify, Red Circle, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, tune in at RI Broadcasting. We're found on so many platforms. And you can also listen to us on MeWe, TikTok, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Gab, Parlor, Space Hey, and Patreon at RI Broadcasting. You can also go on our website and get some beautiful merch. Oh, follow us on Facebook. That's important.
We need that.
Absolutely. We need followers on Facebook at Going On Daily Morning Show. You can find us there. And you can support the show at rhodeislandbroadcasting.net. That's our website. And you can buy some merch there. And just watch other shows. There's Going On Daily, there's sports shows, there's other shows. Rhode Island Broadcasting offers a plethora of opportunity for you to see various different types of shows.
Indeed. There's something for everybody.
There is something for everybody. And we also have a Hall of Fame. If that wasn't enough, we have a Hall of Fame too. So you can vote for your favorite 90s show this month. That's the theme. We've got Twin Peaks, The X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Oz, and ER. So you put your phone up,
Scan
take
the
a
little
picture,
code,
scan
and
the
30
code,
seconds
QR
later,
code.
you voted.
Boom, you've got your vote in, your voice heard, and you're part of the Rhode Island Broadcasting family and participating, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I voted this month for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I hope she wins.
I haven't voted yet because I can't quite decide it. It's between the X-Files and ER, I think. I don't know.
Oh, Buffy, you got to do something. She's a vampire slayer. How can you not love that?
This is true.
Named Buffy.
One of my favorite shows for a long time was about the brothers who killed vampires. What the heck is it called? Like, it has a cult following and everything. They were the Winchester brothers. Dean and Sam and Dean. Shoot, can't remember.
That one I don't know.
Oh, it was a good show, but they killed vampires and evil things. So that's what Buffy reminds me of.
I think we need more people like that on this planet right now. We need more people that can take out the vampires. We don't need vampires right now.
No,
I think
we don't.
we're in a time in American history and world history where if vampires were just to go away for a little bit, life would be all right.
Life would be all right. Okay, well, speaking of life being all right, and it's Pet Week, Chuck, what do you know about unique pets?
I know a lot about unique pets, Sharon, and I'll tell you about some unique pets that I've seen because I've seen some unique ones. And I've got 3 specifics that I'd like to talk about here. I didn't know how long our interviews were going to be, so I condensed it down a little bit. But in my career, I have gotten the opportunity to visit many different homes, many different locations. I have seen many different things, some of which I don't ever want to remember, but some of these things I remember forever because they were kind of cool.
Yeah.
And a few of them have been related to some of the pets that I've seen along the way in my career. And I'm going to do these in order because I don't know any other way to do them. So, about 20 years ago, I was in Columbus, Ohio, my hometown, and I
Okay.
was actually delivering roofing materials to a house in the Ohio State campus area. And we're just out there doing our thing. Everything's going great. We're putting the shingles up on the roof. We get done with this job and we're getting everything packed up, getting ready to move on to the next one. Look over in the neighboring lot. There's a house across the street and it's kind of overgrown and you see that the grass is moving a little bit and it's like, what's going on? Well, we waited for a few minutes to see what it was, and guess what we found in the Ohio State campus front yard of a house randomly while we were doing a roofing job? Can you guess what we may have found?
A pig.
I wish it was a pig. It was an alligator. There was an alligator that had escaped from a house and it was roaming down the street randomly. And we just happened to see it. It was there and it was like, okay, but somebody had a pet alligator and they didn't know how to keep it under control, which is not cool. So pet alligator is pretty unique, right? I've only seen one.
They are quick. You can't outrun an alligator on land.
Oh, I bet you I could.
I don't know.
I bet you I could if I really needed to.
Holy heck. Or no, I guess
I would set a land speed record. Now I used to mess with alligators. This is a terrible offshoot here, but when I was in Florida, we were working. Siobhan's gone, right? Like I don't want to upset anybody that's like an animal advocate by any means what I'm about to say. But when I was in Florida, back in the early 2000s, I was working in Tampa. And we had these trucks that blew mulch out the side of them with these giant hoses, right? And I was doing an apartment complex, and we saw a few alligators that were getting a little bit closer to us than what we would like. And I came to find out that day, you can use giant mulch cannons to keep alligators and crocodiles at bay. And I don't recommend it.
Only when necessary. Only when necessary.
And but if they would have came at me, I'm confident I could have run away from them.
Well, actually, I'll correct that. It's on land, we can outrun them. It's in the water, we can't. Like, no way. They move way too fast.
See, that I'm never gonna have to find out because I ain't getting in the water where there's potential alligators. That's just not my thing. I don't even like to get in swimming pools, much less areas where I can't see the bottom of the there's all kinds of nastiness going on in there. So that alligator was pretty unique, right?
Holy heck. That's a scary, to me, I would, how.
Now, it didn't even scare me. Like, I don't even know why, but it was just like, whatever. It's an alligator. It was weird that it was in Columbus, Ohio, just chilling in the middle of the Ohio State campus. But
now, did you phone animal services to have it?
No, ma'am, I didn't. I'm not going to lie. At that point, I was like, maybe a little immature, young, didn't know exactly how to react. So we just kind of let it go and hope for the best. Maybe he was just out on a morning walk and we didn't know. So
hope there was no little kids in the neighborhood.
Well, I would hope the kids would know to run. But again, sometimes you have to learn lessons in life the hard way.
Not your circus, not your monkeys.
Yeah, there you go. So that brings me to the next. There's actually 4 because you just mentioned one that I'd like to also bring in. But the next one I have is many years later, I moved to Texas. I moved to Texas because I was in North Carolina and my dog got bit by a snake there. So I decided I wanted to get out of North Carolina because I hate snakes. So I came to a place that's definitely not known for having snakes everywhere, which is Texas. And one thing about Texas is
everywhere.
I haven't seen as many snakes here as I have in North Carolina still to this day, but I've seen some snakes. So let me tell you a little story about my friend Bob.
God.
Bob was a guy that I worked with. He was a sheet metal expert. and he had long hair. He looked like Sammy Hagar. And Bob passed away a couple years ago. He moved to somewhere like some tropical island and built a house, and then he passed away like a year later. But he lived over here in College Station, Texas, and I got to go to his house one time to pick something up. And Bob and I were friends, but not like, best buddies or anything. I had never been to his home before this, and I didn't know what to expect. So I walk in, and there's a like an anaconda.
Nope.
And okay, well, this gets even worse. There's an anaconda. You're just like I am. I hate them. So I started asking, like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why do you have a pet anaconda? Like, this is not cool. It had a name and everything. I remember the name was Aquilina. I don't even know what that means, but it's like, okay. And so I'm like, I'll be outside. I don't want to even be in the house because if a snake's going to attack, I'm going to end up getting.
Yeah, no.
And he's like, well, she doesn't attack anymore. And then he tells me a story. And this story is very disturbing. And it's why I'll never have a pet anaconda.
I don't know if I want to know.
He survived. Okay. So Bob has a snake in the house. The snake roams freely throughout the house because they're friends, they're buddies or whatever, right? Well, you know that snakes don't like certain things like cats and things like that. And Bob has this mop on his head. So he is walking up the stairs one day and this snake mistakes his head for a cat and whoosh, bites and then starts wrapping around Bob. At this point, you'd think Bob's probably going to die.
Yeah.
And Bob acknowledged that as well. He said, at this point, I thought I was going to die. But I guess with fear comes superhuman strength or something. Or maybe the snake got a little tiny bit of compassion, saw that it was actually Bob and like lightened up a little bit. But he was able to, escape the whole thing and get himself out of it. But he's like, there was a giant bloody, mark coming down his head.
Oh.
And this is why I think a anaconda is probably the worst pet that I've ever seen. And that's what happened. After he moved to wherever that place was that he went, it was an island somewhere. He had to leave the snake, and the snake now lives in this thing over here in San Antonio called the Snake Farm. And it's just a giant zoo with nothing but snakes. I've never gone to visit because I will never go in that place. So unique pets. I've seen snakes that bite people and try to kill their owners.
Okay, so how did he get it to quit attacking?
I don't know. Okay. I guess he just freaked out and just started like, Rah! No, I can't imagine he was like, hey,
he said it doesn't attack anymore. So what did he do to?
That's a great question. I would be wearing it as a belt if that ever happened to me. Even. Like that would not even be a thing. Right. There would be no second chance at that. You don't get reformed when you try to kill me once. It's like, all right, shame on me if I fall for that again.
You turn into a matching set of belt and boots.
That's it. I guess maybe she just got a little older, wiser, more mature. I don't know. To me, terrible decision, but he loved that snake. The snake was like 35 years old when he moved and put her in the thing. So if you want a long-term pet, a snake.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, thank you.
So that was pretty gross, but now we'll go into something happy. We'll end with two happy ones, okay? After the snake deal, I move on to a different place. And my friends, my business partners at the time, have a farm out in East Texas with all kinds of cool animals. They've got horses, they've got dogs, they've got chickens, they've, you name it, whatever you have on these farms. Well, one day they come into the office and I was over visiting in East Texas. It's about 5 hours away from where I live. And I was there for a business meeting and walk into the room, and I'll be danged if there's not a spider monkey sitting on my buddy's shoulder. A monkey, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, a monkey. This is what, we need a monkey. I need these kind of things. I've got a donkey as my company mascot for my company because I like goofy animals and what they can do. So this monkey is like a part of the family. It does all this cool stuff. We go out to lunch at a restaurant and the monkey comes with us. What? And it's just sitting there, and they have it in a cage because obviously, it probably would be a little wild. But the monkey's sitting there and they're feeding it, and it's got these little hands that look like little human hands, and it's eating and stuff. And that monkey was probably the coolest thing that I've ever seen. They built an entire room in the house for it, had its like a natural looking habitat with like trees and all kinds of crazy stuff. And they bought it at I guess I would call it like a farmer's market in Canton, Texas, where you can go buy crazy animals like that. And I think one time I'm going to probably buy a donkey so I can have one for my. And
well, you better an apartment living isn't for donkeys.
No, but I'll figure something out at that point. If I have a donkey, I'll move. That would be worth moving and relocating, just so that my pet donkey would have a place to stay and have fun. But Spider Monkey, I think that's a cool one. That's one where they were basically, I am going to do this. Yeah. I have an actual donkey for my roofing company, and I've got a live video planned for it. So
awesome.
Stay tuned, ladies and
gentlemen.
Make
sure you share it with us. We'd love to see it.
Trust me, it's going viral. It will go viral. This will be the thing that I'm either most famous for or most like laughed at for being stupid, but it'll be fun. So there's a monkey. Monkey's a very unique pet. Now I will end this with what I believe is the most unique pet that I've ever seen. And I saw two of them at the same time. And this was just last year. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas, which is, it's pretty dry. It's kind of, I don't know what the climate would be like the desert, kind of. It rains like every 6 months, and it'll rain for like 3, 4, 5 days. And then it won't rain again for 5 or 6 months. So we've got people that call and they say, my roof is leaking. Can you come out and take a look? I get a call from a gentleman who I'd met previously years earlier. And he said, hey, I built a house out here. My metal roof is leaking. Can you come take a look? Absolutely. It's a pretty good drive for me, about an hour or so away. So I'm going to enjoy my road trip out there. I'm having fun. I go into the house. I look at everything. I assess the chimney. I find the problem and I solve it. And I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. I go to shake the guy's hand and he says, hey, Chuck, do you want to see something special? You don't have to shake twist my arm for this. Of course I do. I don't even know what it could possibly be, but it's going to be something cool. So we start walking to this little building that's, maybe, 150, 200 yards away from the house. We start walking out there and I don't see anything. He grabs some lettuce and he's like, here, take this lettuce. You're going to need this. Trust me. Now, I've been bitten by a giraffe before, so I'm not really excited about feeding things with lettuce because I'm like, giraffe got my finger one time, and that was not fun. But, okay, we'll do it. So he calls these, I don't remember what the names were. They come walking out of this little building, and they were kangaroos. He had 2 kangaroo pets at his house in Bernie, Texas. And it was awesome because I did feed them and I was petting them and having fun and hanging out. And the only thing I worried about was I watched these videos a lot where the kangaroos start trying to fight you and stuff. And I didn't really want that to happen because there were 2 of them. And I feel like I could probably take the 2, but then I'd have to deal with the guy too. And he probably wouldn't like me beating up the kangaroos. So I had to think this all out in my mind. I got through the whole thing. I was able to pet the kangaroos. I made a cool video that went on TikTok that everybody loved. And so far to this point, that's the most unique pets that I found. I've seen some disgusting pets as well, but this is not disgusting pet week. It's unique pet week. And therefore we've seen that. And I have seen a pet pig. Doesn't even make the top 5 though. So there you go.
That
unique
is
pets I've seen.
Pets. Very cool. Very good. Thank you for not doing the disgusting pets. I appreciate that.
Well, the snake one was hard enough.
And
I'm like you. Every time I think about it, I was thinking about this morning when I was getting ready, and it was like, ugh. I didn't even want to like.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I can't. Oof. I was looking for houses one time and went into this house, and they had cages because they had snakes. The snakes weren't in them. The cages were empty. I saw the cages and I walked out. I don't know where the snake is. It's probably not in the house. Don't want to take that chance. The real estate agent was like, oh, there's no snakes here. Yeah, no, I'm out. There was, and I'm done. That was it. I wouldn't even look further. Probably was a nice house. Couldn't tell you because I
Yeah,
wasn't.
I
Didn't look
hate
at it.
snakes. Like the
Ooh.
only thing I hate worse than snakes are rats, and
I'll
I
take a rat
can't.
any day over a snake. Honest to God,
Oh, it's a
I
tough
don't want either
choice.
one of them. I don't want either
Yeah,
one of them.
it's a tough choice. I'll take
Nope,
a
not
dog.
for me. Oh, absolutely, a dog. I love Great Pyrenees. They're great. They're amazing animals. They're so gentle, just big, gentle giants.
My
Just
favorites are boxers, and they're just giants. They're not gentle. They're just big old. My boxers were. I had one. She weighed about 100 pounds, and she would sit in your lap, and
yeah,
she didn't think anything of it. And my other one, Lily, she was just a little girl. She probably weighed about 50,
yeah.
and she would annoy the crap out of her male cousins by just bullying them and picking on them. And every time she would show up, you'd see the look of despair on their face because they knew. Oh
Oh,
man, she's here for a couple days for holiday visits, and it's
she
not
was
going to be good.
a true female bitch.
She was. She ran the entire show and was fine to let everybody know about it. And I lived out in the middle of the country. She used to go out in the pasture and eat with the cows and the deer and all that stuff. And she was an honorary cow. There's definitely a video of my dog that was out there with the cows, and they would come up to her and they'd be face to face. And there was somewhere she'd be out there barking at them, and I'd fly the drone over and she'd bark, and then they'd start walking at her and she'd run away and bark at them from over here. What a character. I love pets.
Oh, me too. They're so much fun. They really do bring a lot to your life. Like so much fun. They say skunks and a possum make great pets. Yeah, well, have
I
at
don't know
her.
who they
Not for
are,
me.
but I'm good with that.
They are a little crazy, I think. I don't think they know what a good pet is. That'd be my take on it.
There we go.
So, from unique pets to how about unique pet names?
Indeed. We just heard of
Oh,
Aquilina, the anaconda.
yes, Aquilina. Like you say, I wonder what that even meant. So, I went online and did some research because I used to have a friend who named her pet fish Sushi. She called it Sushi. So that made me think of, I wonder how many other people out there have unique pet names. My dog wasn't so unique. I called him Goober. He was a big Great Pyrenees, and he just hung around with his tongue hanging out of his mouth and looked like a goober. So that's where he got that name. So online I found some different names. There was a dog named Wolfgang, and they also had a cat, and they called the cat Meowtzart.
I love it. That's
Wolfgang and
terrific,
Meowtzart.
right? Like that is incredibly thoughtful and original. I love it.
Oh, it is great. It's wonderful when people have fun with you can tell they love their pets and they're just having fun with them. This other person had some friends who had a cat named Greg from accounting.
I love that too. And he probably had that persona down pat, and you could just look at him and say, that's Greg from accounting right there. He's just hanging out on the couch.
So many cats come to mind that would actually fit, right?
Absolutely.
Ron says that he had a goldfish named Bait. Oh, Bait. That's what
Sometimes you just have to, you have to be resigned to the reality of life. And,
absolutely.
Thankfully, Goldfish didn't understand what his name meant in English. And he probably thought that it just meant,
Yeah.
Hank or Jim.
Well, they only have a what is it, a 1 second recall or something anyways,
he forgot his name was
forgot.
Bait, so he's just happy-go-lucky. I can appreciate that.
Some
I
days
envy
would be a
Goldfish
wonderful way to live.
sometimes.
Yes, exactly. Another person named their black cat Edgar Allan Poe.
Nice.
And then there's a girl in high school who had an iguana, and they named it Mary Iguana.
I get it. I get it. It is a family program, folks, but sometimes we just gotta say adult things. Mary Iguana.
Mary Iguana. And another girl had a fish named Swim Shady.
That's awesome. I respect that. That is very, very good. It's a shame that these fish don't know this.
Yeah,
they don't understand their fame.
They don't know how cool they are. And another lady had a blind and deaf dog named.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we're not even going to do this one because it's kind of walking the line, so I won't. Okay. another husband and wife had a cat that they adopted, and they called him Alt Tab because he'd make them switch from whatever task they were working on when he wanted attention or food. So if they were on their computer, he would just come and make them switch what they were doing and feed him. So they called him Alt Tab.
I love it.
Pretty cool. And somebody saw a poster once for a missing cat named Chairman Meow.
And you wonder if the cats actually know that that's their name. I think they do. I think the cats will come to those names. Now, dogs are different. I gave my dog about 300 different names, and she seemed to respond equally to all 300. And I just feel like you could say pretty much anything, but if you used a nice, happy, energetic tone, she'd be down with it.
Exactly. If you love me, you're talking to me. Woo, dogs are just, you can just see the tail wagging.
I don't even care what my name is at that point.
Exactly. Call me anything you want. Just call me. Whereas cats, yes, they expect to have a name like Chairman Meow.
Indeed. Most cats have, yes, sir. It starts with sir.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Like, okay, sir. I don't get along with cats. We have a difference of philosophy with each other.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a dog guy.
Yeah, but cats love me. I'm not a huge cat fan. When they purr, it sounds like they have a cold. That's what it reminds me of someone with a cold, and I just want to fix them. Because to me, it sounds like they're not healthy when they purr. So yeah, I love cats that don't purr, because
those are the best ones.
Yeah,
because they're usually really far away from me. Sorry to all the cat lovers. I'm also allergic to them, so
okay.
That's the reason. I'm allergic to cats, but my dad wanted to have cats when I was a kid, so he didn't care that I was allergic to cats. And we had 3 cats when I was growing up. I didn't even know how miserable I was until I moved out when I was 18, and then I was able to breathe, and I was able to actually understand that those damn cats. Like. I was allergic to them my whole life, and I had no idea.
Oh, Ron says Cat Stevens would be a great name for a cat. Very good, Ron.
Cat Williams.
Oh, yes, Cat Williams. There was a potbelly pig living next door to one of these people, and they called him Notorious P.I.G.
That's the one where he's got the little glasses on and he's got the little cigarette hanging out after he just does some kind of gangster move. Yeah, that I respect that. And I guarantee Notorious knew.
Oh,
he was the big ham, if you will.
Oh yeah, had the little hat on, like you say, the shades and the stogie and that.
Gots to love it.
Living life. Okay, I just got a couple more. One person named their dog Barack Obama.
All right, I like it.
Another person had a cat and they named it Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go.
Oh man. There's a cat named Serenity Meow.
Serenity Meow is a wonderful name for a cat. That's my go-to when I need peace is Serenity Meow.
One of my favorites was someone named their cat Schrodinger.
Oh, people. And these animals are probably well aware, and they're probably like really kind of messed up in the head. Like, man, why couldn't I be Fluffy or Lucky? Exactly. Like, what's up? Yeah. But hey, that's what makes them unique.
And okay, so now this takes a little bit of thought, just a little bit, not a lot.
Uh-oh.
One couple called their dog our soul. Say that really fast in your head. Our soul.
Our soul. Arse. Well, see, now I know what that is because Canada, arse means something different.
Yes.
I get you. Yes. Okay.
It doesn't mean that in the States?
We don't use the word arse. Arse does not have an R in it. We replace the R with an additional S.
Okay. So this joke is, just for the Canadians, I guess.
No, but I totally got it. my time watching Trailer Park Boys really paid off for me there because
Oh,
arse is a word that they use a lot. So I knew exactly what it was. Don't be an arse. And hopefully I'm not getting in trouble because I'm actually not cussing where I'm at. So if I'm using foul language in Canada right now, I apologize.
Don't apologize. We're good. Did you see the Olympics?
No, I didn't even know the Olympics were on.
Well, our men's Canadian skip told the Swiss skip to FO and got in trouble for it. So I don't think you're offending Canadians if you say arsehole.
Yeah, I like that. That's what I like about Canada. I think we've got a lot in common, and I think they'd be fine with the terminology. Quick question about pets. Have you ever had a pet that had a unique name?
No, just Goober. That's the most unique one. What about yourself?
Well, now, glad you asked. So, when I was a kid, probably, I guess 4 or 5 years old, maybe before I was even in kindergarten. So I was probably about 5. I wanted a dog, not a golden retriever, a cocker spaniel. I wanted a cocker spaniel, and my mom got me a cocker spaniel. This cocker spaniel turned out to be evil, and I've got a scar over my eye still to this day from where she bit me. I don't know what happened to the cocker spaniel after that. Immediately thereafter, she was gone, and I never saw her again. So my mom was pretty protective of her kids.
Hopefully they found a good home.
Hopefully. She might still be flying. My mom might have booted her to the moon. I don't know. But that was a long time ago. So I wanted still a dog, and they were like, well, the dog bit, yada, yada. We went and got ourselves a dog from the Humane Society, which is
lovely.
great for today's thing. And I was 5 years old when we got this dog, little miniature Doberman Pinscher. And as a 5-year-old, they're like, hey, what are you going to name your puppy? Well, I'm going to think about it for about 5 seconds, and we're going to name our puppy Puppy. Okay. And what's going to happen when Puppy grows up? We don't know yet. But the reality of the matter is I had a dog whose name was Puppy until he was 18 years old. He was 18 and still going by Puppy. And that dog, from the time I was able to get on my bicycle and ride, would chase us. My brother and I would ride through the neighborhoods and whatnot. And that dog would be running behind us everywhere we went. I bet that dog probably ran at least 1,000,000 miles in his life. He lived to be 18. And I always thought, we probably could have done him a favor and given him like a more grown-up name at some point, but he seemed to be fine with being Puppy for 18 years. And there you go. A lot of people said that was a unique or kind of a stupid name, but I didn't think so.
It's a great name because it's a term of endearment. When people go, oh, look at the puppies, their hearts melt. Like they're looking at these puppies. So to me, that's a wonderful name.
I thought it was awesome. And he was a feisty little dude. Anytime any other bigger dogs would mess with us, he'd be right there to fight with them and defend our honor. It was cool. I liked having a little dog like that. And all the rest of mine were Shady and Lily, Mo and Curly. So
Mo and Curly, that's perfect.
They were brothers. They were my mom's 2 boxers. They were brothers. They looked completely different from each other, but they were one was real big, one was little. They were almost like the what's that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito movie where they're like twins.
Yes. Yep, twins.
It was almost like that, Mo and Curly. And then I had Lily, and I named her Lily because she was a girl, and I figured Larry would have probably been, if she was a boy, I would have named her Larry, but Lily was close enough. So Lily, Mo, and Curly. The 3 Stooges.
The 3 Stooges. I love it. That's awesome. Well, we ended the show on a wonderful note. And where can people find you, Chuck, if they want to get a hold of you? Where can they get some good roofing done?
Oh, find me all over the world on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. I'm not on Space, but maybe someday I will. You can also check out Keeping It Real podcast on my channel, Chuck Allen 210 on YouTube. I'm also on Amazon, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and like 16,000 others. So you can find me pretty easily. If you're in Central Texas, you need roofing work, Rio Blanco Roofing and Restoration, ladies and gentlemen, that's 833-RIO ASAP, or visit us online at rioblancoroofing.net. And that is how you find me. What about you, Sharon? How do they find you?
Well, I'm not as accessible or as impressive as you are, Chuck. Holy moly,
I
that's
just
awesome.
made all that stuff up. I created it. It's not that impressive.
You can find me on Facebook and YouTube at Holy Shift Balls. I co-host a Holy Shift Balls podcast right here on Going On Daily, Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, and 10 a.m. Mountain. And so we have a lot of fun every Thursday morning. We host a whole bunch of different people and just have a lot of fun and a lot of laughs. There might be a curse word or two, so just, a warning, a little bit of a warning there.
Sometimes it has to happen. I've had several of my podcasts that have been given the parental advisory sticker, so we get it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We really had a great time, and our guest was fabulous. Thanks, Ron, for all the hard work you do in producing this show and keeping us on the air. We love it, and it's a privilege to be here with you, and we will see you again soon. Tomorrow, we have Ron and Luana. So you'll get to see the master behind the show, the maestro.
Indeed.
Ron the maestro will be on tomorrow with Luana. Lovely Luana. And that's our show for today. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll see you again.
Later on, everybody.